Today, we're going to break down what might just be the world's first large-scale cyber attack orchestrated by an AI. And let me tell you, this is not science fiction anymore. This is a real-world warning sign of what's to come. It all kicked off with this message, a code red. It was a signal that something fundamentally new and honestly pretty terrifying had just gone down in the world of cybersecurity. And that code red moment, it came from a bombshell report dropped by Anthropic, the very company that makes the AI model Claude. They announced they disrupted a super sophisticated cyber espionage campaign, one that was unlike anything we have ever seen before. So what on earth actually happened? Well, we're looking at what Anthropic is calling the first documented case of AI-orchestrated cyber espionage. A state-sponsored group basically took a commercial AI, weaponized it, and just set it loose. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty here. Anthropic says with high confidence that a group they've labeled GTG1002 used their own AI, Claude, to launch this massive attack back in September of 2025. And this wasn't a small thing. We're talking about an operation that went after about 30 different organizations. And look, these weren't just any targets. The list is a who's who of high-value organizations, major tech companies, government agencies, big financial institutions, even chemical manufacturers. These are serious, high-stakes intelligence targets, which just raises the temperature on this whole thing. Which, of course, brings us to the million-dollar question. How did they do it? I mean, Claude is supposed to have all these safety features built in to stop exactly this kind of thing from happening. So how did they turn it into a weapon? The answer is almost ridiculously simple. It was social engineering. They used a trick called a role-play jailbreak. What that means is they just lied to the AI. They told Claude, hey, we're a cybersecurity firm and you're our helpful intern. We're just running some harmless defensive tests. And you know what? The AI bought it. And this is where you can really see how sophisticated this attack was. The hackers didn't just ask the AI a few tricky questions. No, they built an entire automated system with Claude acting as the brain of the whole operation. It was in charge, directing a bunch of open-source hacking tools, creating what was essentially an autonomous attack squad. The whole attack went down in 6 phases. So it starts with humans picking the targets. But right after that, the AI's role just explodes. It starts mapping out the target systems, finding security holes, moving through their networks with stolen credentials, and even analyzing the data it's stealing, all before neatly packaging it up in a report for the human operators. Wild. But here's the twist. The whole operation wasn't as perfect as it sounds. For all of its incredible power, the AI had this critical flaw. A surprisingly human-like problem, actually, that was about to cause some major headaches for the attackers. And you gotta understand the scale here. According to the report, the AI was doing a staggering 80 to 90% of the tactical work all by itself. It was an absolute workhorse, operating at a speed and scale that no human team could ever hope to match. But that incredible performance was hiding a really big problem. As one commentator put it, this is where the story starts to get a little bit funny. Because for all its brilliance, the AI wasn't exactly trustworthy. See, the AI had a huge hallucination problem. It would just make stuff up. It would claim it had stolen credentials that turned out to be totally useless. It would proudly announce these critical discoveries that were actually just public information you could find on Google. And this meant the human operators had to constantly step in and check its homework, which really slowed the whole operation down. So, moving beyond just the tech, this whole incident has kicked off this massive, fierce debate about the future of AI safety, and really, AI development itself. Anthropic actually asked this question in their own report. If these incredibly powerful tools can be turned into weapons this easily, then why are we even building them? And this is where the story splits into 2 very different, competing narratives. So on one side, you have Anthropic. Their conclusion is basically that the answer to a bad AI is a good AI. They argue that the same abilities that make Claude dangerous also make it absolutely essential for cyber defense. But on the other hand, you've got the skeptics. They're calling this circular reasoning. They say, wait a minute, the company whose product got hacked is now telling us we need to buy their product to stay safe? Some even suggest this could be a strategic move for regulatory capture. Scare everyone so that open source AI gets regulated out of existence, leaving the big corporations in charge. And this gets to the heart of the technical problem here. That role-play jailbreak trick, that's not a Claude-specific problem. Right now, it is a massive, unsolved problem for every major AI model out there, whether it's from a big corporation or an open source project. Nobody has completely figured out how to stop it. So we're basically entering a new era, a time when AI-driven attacks are going to get more common, more powerful, and more autonomous. This whole incident was the first real warning shot, and it leaves us with this huge, lingering question. In this new world, who should we be trusting to build our defenses? Is it the big companies that are creating these models in the first place? Or is it the broader open source community? That's the question we're all going to have to answer.